Hi, thank you for watching Digging into China. I'm Dong Shang. Last Wednesday, President Trump pardoned the former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. This is an overdue act of justice that ends 4 years of political harassment, unjustified prosecution, and judicial abuse. The FBI and the justice pursued him though they knew there was no basis for an investigation. They coerced a plea of lying to the FBI despite interviewing agents thought he was telling the truth. A later re-examination ordered by Attorney General William Barr found that justice and FBI had withheld exculpatory evidence. FBI took advantage of the unsuspecting Mr. Flynn and a trusting White House to have its agents interview him without courtesies normally extended to criminals. Justice finally moved to dismiss the charges this year, but then federal judge Emmett Sullivan opted for political revenge by refusing to agree to the dismissal. He even tried to investigate the case himself. This was an extraordinary intrusion by a court into the executive branch's prosecutorial power. His goal was obvious, that it was to stall long enough for a Biden administration to take power and reinstate the charges. What a disgraceful performance. A pardon was the only avenue left to prevent Mr. Flynn from more years of punishment. The president's pardon won praise from several Republicans, including House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and Representative Lee Zeldin. Both said it was 100% the right call. Additionally, House Minority Whip Steve Scalise said in a statement that Flynn's prosecution was politically motivated and should never have happened. Scalise argued further, stating that Democrats and the FBI destroyed Flynn's life to try to attack the president. Let us quickly replay the Flynn story and give you a full accounting of the government's takedown of Mr. Flynn. A decorated veteran, Mr. Flynn advised the Trump campaign and in November 2016 was named National Security Advisor. The FBI had spent months monitoring him as part of its Russia collusion fantasy. Yet by January 4, 2017, it had found nothing and moved to close its case. Not quite yet. Here rushed in Peter Strzok, the now disgraced former FBI agent. He kept the investigation open. The FBI listened on a Flynn call to the then Russian ambassador to the US. This phone call is perfectly legal. Why? Ask Joe Biden, whose team is making such calls now. The FBI debated whether to use Logan Act charge, but then decided to settle on a simpler course. I quote, "to get to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired," unquote. The FBI didn't need to interview Mr. Flynn about his conversation with the Russian ambassador because it had the phone transcript. Yet, the Bureau's then Deputy Director Andrew McCabe sandbagged Mr. Flynn. He arranged for him to meet with FBI agents without a lawyer. Former FBI Director James Comey later gloated over the setup. The FBI also chose not to provide Mr. Flynn a standard warning against lying to keep him comfortable. Despite all this, the agents reported that they, I quote, "believe that F believes that what he said was true," unquote. In other words, Mr. Flynn did not intentionally lie. However, the special counsel Robert Mueller didn't care. The FBI knew in January 2017 that its collusion investigation was a bust. It confirmed the Steele dossier was a fabrication. So Mr. Comey engineered a special counsel to salvage the FBI's reputation by ginning up unrelated crimes. Mr. Mueller dredged the Flynn interview and threatened to prosecute Mr. Flynn's son unless he pleaded guilty to lying. To put it simply, this is naked abuse of power. The life of an innocent man was ruined. This year, Mr. Flynn hired Sidney Powell as his new lawyer, and Attorney General William Barr decided to review the case. Upon the completion of the review and upon the newly reviewed evidence, Justice Department moved to right its wrongs. In May, the DOJ moved to drop its case, presenting Judge Emmett Sullivan with veteran prosecutor Jeffrey Jensen's assessment that the FBI never had a legitimate purpose in interviewing Mr. Flynn, that he should never have been prosecuted. The department also presented the papers documenting the FBI's shocking behavior. The Justice Department, not judges, make the call on whom to prosecute. Yet, Judge Sullivan refused to accept the withdrawal. He went so far as to appoint a fellow retired Judge John Gleason to spout evidence-free claims that prosecutors were giving special treatment to Mr. Flynn. Judge Sullivan's behavior was so outrageous that a federal appeals panel in June ordered him to dismiss the case. The full appellate court in August agreed to let him hold a hearing while warning him to get his act together. Judge Sullivan held his hearing in September but had yet to rule. He's made it clear all along he wants Ms. Flynn subject to an avenging Biden Justice Department. This is the sad reality of the Flynn mess. In a better world, the Flynn case would have been dismissed given an on-the-record censure of appalling FBI and DOJ behavior. But that's why the judge refused to do it. It is a sad fact that people of power told themselves it was okay to break rules, norms, standards, even the law, in their quest to take the president down. To dismiss the Flynn case would have been to acknowledge that this behavior was wrong, and that would have been too painful and too embarrassing for the Trump haters. So, it was left to the White House to make this right. President Trump acted correctly. Chief Justice John Marshall once described the presidential pardon as an act of grace. In the case of Mike Flynn, President Trump's pardon was something more. It was a requirement of justice. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly.